Dr. Zaga painted a very positive image of what might be the future. There's a darker side, I believe, that I think we all realize, but positive thinking is certainly what we want to do. There's several problems that Liberia is facing in higher education. They're similar to the ones we face in the United States. I'm sure that everyone here in the administration of Howard is struggling with how to finance higher education, how to compete with the for-profit schools that are popping up everywhere and causing a lot of damage to higher education. The same things are happening in Liberia as the for-profit schools are infiltrating without the benefit of the accreditation bodies that exist in the United States. We have Nigeria, South Africa, other entrepreneurs, as it were, are coming in and offering schools where the degrees, in some cases, are quite bogus. When you find a college which is chartered in the Turks and Caicos Islands, you scratch your head and say, why there? And they're based, the president is based in Australia. So there are difficulties there. The second big problem is, as he alluded to, in 1987, there were about 5,500 students in higher education in Liberia. Today, there's about 56,000. He mentioned the one college at the University of Liberia, which suffered a massive brain drain. That in 1987, the University of Liberia had 4,000 students. Today, they have 36,000 students. In 1987, they had 84 people with earned doctor's degrees. Today, they probably have less than 25, or somewhere in that neighborhood. Education cannot multiply that fast and maintain that quality. Similarly, there's been similar things throughout the entire education system. Education, obviously, is a political must. Students are demanding it, parents are demanding it. But education is not just getting a degree or a diploma. You've got to teach them something. USAID did a survey, a literacy survey of all 15 counties, done by the Research Triangle Institute down in North Carolina. They found that 34% of all second and third grade students could not read a single word. That was about in 2004, 2005. We've now been 10 years later. They're now in the 10th grade, or they're graduating from high school. I don't think they learned to read in those subsequent years. We know we're getting them into colleges unable to read. Universities cannot fix the whole problem. The other difficulty I found was that, and it's understandable, the world has preached that education is the key to your future. It is, but that's not just getting a degree. You've got to get an education, and that might not be done in 4 years. And Liberia came out of post-conflict. There was a demand to return to normalcy. There was a demand to recreate the University of Liberia, the Cullington University of 1989, when the war began. That wasn't possible. There would have been a great opportunity to say, okay, what do we need to do now? How do we need to do it again? But we passed that. We didn't do that. So now we have about 33 institutions of higher learning. The other difficulty is a huge number of those are theology schools, Bible schools. I used to joke about the fact that we have the School of Cosmetics and Aviation Science. I made that up, of course. But they're similar. Schools that used to be theology schools are now teaching accountants. We have about 5,000 accountants taught in the last 5 years, graduated. There's obviously no place for 5,000 accountants in a society that small. Almost no English teachers, no history teachers, no geography teachers, no primary education teachers. Most of the education majors are in secondary education. No subject matter. So we're not doing the job of rebuild. We need petroleum engineers. But just imagine the amount of money it takes to train one petroleum engineer. So it's a difficulty of resources. And as Dr. Zaga did point out, one of the big crises in Liberia is the University of Liberia charges 175 liberty, which is the Liberian dollar, per credit hour. The exchange rate's about 85 right now. So 175, that's about $2 a credit hour. I'm sure the students at Palaver would love to pay even 10 times that much, maybe even 100 times that much, of $2 a credit hour. The president tried to raise tuition to $5 a credit hour. It was, the students threatened violence to overturn that. Now, if you do just some calculation, Liberia is a poorer country than the United States, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people making more than $100 a month. That means you can pay your entire year tuition for less than $100. I don't know what the tuition is here, but I'm sure there are very few people that can pay 1 year's tuition at Howard for a month's pay. So there's a problem of we're not putting the resources. The students do not understand that they get what they pay for. And so I think we need more resources. And with the student, I started writing a paper. There's an old joke that says, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is it only takes one, but the light bulb has to want to change. And the thing is, how to fix the educational system in Liberia is the system people have to want to change it. And right now, I was listening to National Public Radio the other day about character, teaching character in the schools. Corruption is a big problem in Liberia, and yet corruption is endemic in the schools, selling grades and buying grades. And the teachers aren't any more guilty than the students or the parents who are supporting it. So if you want to get a corruption-free society, you've got to put it back in the schools. You've got to get quality. So that's it. We have a lot of problems in the country. I was a Peace Corps there in 1972, 76, and I've been there for the last 12 years working in higher education. And although I'm not a Liberian, I'm passionate about trying to get an understanding of how to improve the system. It's going to be tough. It won't be easy. But you have to understand that it won't be easy.